Hi everyone, Small Designs here. This is part 3 of the Tamiya 1/35th scale M4A4 build. So as you can see, we got quite a bit of detail going on here. It's just the tracks and the road wheels and such need to go on before we could start the heavy detailing. But for the most part, it's coming along really well. So today we're going to talk about some of the major pieces that we have put on, and a lot of it is in the rear, as you can tell right here. And I think I got it pretty close right there. That's a historical photo, and as you can see, I think I got it pretty close, and I'm going to show you today how I did that. Let me see if I can get other angles here. Now, obviously, none of that comes in the box. I mean, we're working with this kit right here. So that's a complete conversion yet again, right? So, but before we get onto that, I'm just going to show you a few other things. Obviously, we got, the hatches and whatnot, painted and done, just on the exterior. The interior still needs to be done, but I just wanted, the top parts done for now, because we haven't quite decided, what we're going to have open or closed. But for the sake of the video, I wanted to have it, done just to make it look a little pretty. Now we have the travel lock in there. For this variant, it did have it on. Now, I pulled it from this kit right here. Now, I wasn't really happy, with this kit. The parts weren't up to Tamiya quality, and they definitely weren't up to Asuka and Tasca quality. Now, it does say Tamiya on it, but the parts are Italy. So I use this kit more so for parts, and especially obviously, if you looked at the last video, we ripped off the whole rear end and put it onto here. This whole back piece. So, and now I've been finding too that I've been taking more and more parts from this kit, and with the travel lock, that's especially so, because what's kind of cool about this kit is the travel lock. You take this piece, and then there's another piece right here, and it actually worked out really well for me because I was able to do it for this particular model and variant. So I was kind of racking my brain how I was going to, to do the travel lock. The lock is, kind of easy, right? Because I can easily take a travel lock from another Tamiya kit, but it was actually the mounting points that I was thinking, how am I going to do it? So when I was going to cannibalize more parts from this kit, I was looking at the travel lock, and then I realized I actually had these little bits, and I thought, that's going to work out great. So, this kit to the rescue. But I found that the parts weren't really too, to high quality. So, the figures are great, and I think the figures are actually from Tamiya, but the tank itself is Italy, like the main gun, things like that. They're not to high standard, and you can tell like even the plastic isn't the greatest. So anyway, I'm going to end up using a lot of these little parts and stuff like that for, just adding more detail to my other tanks, where I can. And that worked out great for me. So if you're wondering how I got that's where I got that. So moving on, just trying to think if there's anything else I put on here since last. Obviously the Periscope Guards, there, and there. Again, this variant did have them on, and those I just took from other Tamiya models that I had extra. They do not come with this model, so that's something you're going to have to consider as well. And once we figure out what, if we're going to have the hatches open or closed, we'll get into the interior detail at a later date. Same thing with the transmission cover and things like that. I mean, there's little details to be put on, and we did put that on obviously prior to painting. But let's get back into the rear section here. Now, this is not glued on, so I am going to take this off. Actually, I'm going to see if I can just pull this piece out, because this is not glued on at all. It's in there. It's just friction fit right now. But the way it sits in there just beautifully. There we go. Now that's all this is just a frame. It almost looks like an oversized step. Now with this kit, you do get, obviously on these two sprues, these pieces right here. Now all this is to simulate the wood that's going across right here, obviously to support, you know, the gear. Now what I had done is I had just, you know, obviously measured the length that I'm going to need from here to here. These are obviously just a little bit too long, so I measured, you know, the distance I'm going to need, right? But prior to doing that, so I cut, you know, you get two, so I cut them out, and then I took these pieces, or this piece. This does not come with this kit here, so you're going to need, I mean, obviously I'm building many Shermans, right? So I'm going to have a lot of extra parts from other kits, and some kits come with, you know, molds from other, you know, kits, right? Like they just basically throw in, you know, a multitude of parts that were from, you know, prior kits, because they just basically, they just say, okay, whatever, we're going to give you these parts from this kit and just omit them, kind of like this instructions, right? They just say, you know, you're going to need this, but you're not going to need this, this, and this. But they do it anyway because that's just what comes on the sprue. I'm sure you know what I'm getting at, but getting back on task here. So what I'd done is I took off this and this. As you can see, it's off, because I wanted this kind of shape, right? Right there. Because this, the way this sits, and I know this picture probably isn't the best example, it doesn't sit straight. You need that angle, right? So when I first started gluing it, I set it up like this, and then I glued the bottom piece, and then I glued that piece, so it's kind of off, not, you know, perfectly straight, but as you can see, it looks like that. So when it sits into the tank, it sits like that. And then for the top piece right here, I just cut a length piece off right here as the top support. So when it sits in here, right, it kind of gives it that roof piece, like the support like that, as you've seen at the beginning of the video, and then we achieve that. Also too is when you start building the rear section in there, let's see if we can get some light in, you omit the air filters. This variant does not have the air filters, as you can see. And then for the hitch, this does not have a hitch, so you just putty that in, and then as you can see, there's still, you know, you can still kind of see where, you know, the attachment would have allowed for the hitch, but with a little bit of mud and dirt and stuff, you won't see it, but you can tell where I put putty in there, right where my finger is. But so there's no hitch, so you can omit that, and the air filters. Let's see if I can get this piece off too. There we go. So there's no air filters. As you can see, I left them out. Normally there'd be actually a grill right here, but because of the way we're setting this tank up right here, and we're having this in the down position, you're never going to see that. So I felt that, you know, going that far just won't be necessary, just because this is down and then this is on top, and then the diorama, you're never going to see that. So I felt, you know, with cutting the plastic here and then putting a photo etch part in here, I didn't want to take the, you know, ruin the integrity of the, you know, the rear part of the tank. So I felt that I've gone far enough with the detail. So no air filters needed. Omit right here, and you're good to go. And then if you're worried about, well, now I used my, you know, my fake wood right here, what am I going to do? A simple stir stick from Starbucks is the same size and it's real wood. So all you have to do is measure it out, you know, cut it, and you got yourself a real wood support. So, little trick. I actually explained this more in detail in my M4A4 105 HVSS video, but normally I was using popsicle sticks, but that's actually way too much work and sanding, as where these stir sticks from Starbucks are the perfect thing. So hopefully that you know, was a good explanation on how to you know, how to make that piece right there. Just a little bit of measuring and you know, shaping, and you got yourself that rear piece. So there we go, guys. That is the video for the M4A4 as far as, you know, converting of parts. I don't think there's any more converting needed. It's just a matter of working on the road wheels and suspension and deciding on what kind of tracks, you know, I want to put on the tank at this point. And then from there, we'll you know, start weathering it and deciding on what kind of diorama we want to put this in. So there we go. So thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I look forward to your comments. Thanks, guys.